There's deep Trump. There's deep state Trump. There's establishment Trumpers. I don't know who you call it. Long form Trumpers. And then there's people who had to be persuaded. Took them all of 3 minutes. Like our dear friend Jimmy Dore. Now this hit job. This is a hit job. I know what you're thinking is, when are these three touring? But also, why the Jan 6 shit in the background? And I mean, obviously, he's picking he picked the stormy picture that he picked because it's already in his hard drive. But Trump just looks like he wonders if anybody knows he farted. But this is Jimmy apparently saying that this is all just, these are trumped up charges. We probably won't do all this video because it'll be annoying. This is, and then
the Mentos gum bottle is recyclable, just like
almost
paper.
like a real ad. I'm shocked.
More wallpaperable. And more shreddable. Mentos Pure Fresh Gum. Yes to fresh.
What does that mean?
So the Trump arrest. Okay, you know, this is what they would have been doing to Bernie Sanders had Bernie.
Yeah, you remember, you know what? I think pretty much the day Bernie Sanders' pussy tape came out, he would have probably been cuffed and stuffed. This is what they would have been doing to Bernie Sanders. Yeah. You do realize this is how you have to be massively deluded to even consider that thought, or you think your followers are idiotic and can only be baited with Trump is basically the left. So anything that happens to him would happen to your favorite left-leaning person. By the way, Jimmy wants fucking Bernie locked up.
Bernie Sanders won. Just so you know that.
Yeah, that's citation needed. What the ever-loving fuck are you talking about? So Jimmy's idea is that Bernie would have served a term, fucked up a pandemic, incited a riot, and for 2 years afterwards, they would be hounding him, trying to find a way to throw Bernie Sanders in jail.
This is what they're doing. And I'm no fan of Trump. Trump was not a great president, although he didn't start any more wars. His foreign policy was certainly better than any of our presidents in recent.
Oh, yeah? Did he stay in any? Did he expand any? Did he say, take troops out of Syria and pat himself on the back for it, but send them to Saudi Arabia, where apparently you think America is attacking the Houthis? Who the fuck do you think put the troops in the Saudi Arabian peninsula and down and along their border so that would alleviate the pressure on their soldiers so that they could go fight the Houthis in Yemen? Huh?
It's in history. His domestic policy sucked.
Really? Which part? Because he didn't go with ivermectin. He didn't praise ivermectin enough. And by the way, there's a reason why we're not going to do this. Is 16 minutes long. We don't need it. We'll do the first 5 minutes because Jimmy, you know how Jimmy likes to go on Tucker? Apparently, he's wore out his welcome, so he's got to find other bizarre right-wing outlets. He's on Lindell TV. Yeah. On Stu Peters' fucking show. He couldn't even get on the big man's show.
I mean, he screwed up a lot of foreign policy too, but he just, I guess, didn't know enough to screw up all of it.
Yeah.
Like how
he didn't know what his real job was. The real job of the president is imperialism.
Yeah. That's
the real job, and that's why they had to get rid of him.
He was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why we own Germany and Japan. That's why we were able to. That's why we didn't even have to think about blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline. We just, since World War II, because we're an imperialist power, we fucking own Germany, okay? And that's why we expanded NATO into the eastern parts of Germany so we could have complete material control over their government. And that's why we didn't have to even attack it. Or that's when Joe said we could shut it down. What he really meant was America's an imperial power. Germany's a colony. It has been since the fucking 40s. And forever shall be. He was just going to tell them in German or something, or make them speak English while he did it.
willing to do a lot of imperialism, but not all in how they need you.
No, none of us know what the fuck he's talking about.
And so this guy's John Woo.
This, by the way, Trump was literally saying we need to keep the oil. Even like George Bush and Cheney, I think that was like, we'll keep the oil through American companies or foreign companies like BP that we have relationships with, and we'll kind of divvy it up. I think George Bush and Cheney would fuck around in that kind of an area. But Obama and Biden are nowhere near like, yeah, if we're gonna invade that if we're gonna protect those people, they're gonna have to give us their oil to do it, like it's a fucking protection racket. That's imperialism. That is seizing the natural resources while painting yourself as a peacekeeper. And that's what Trump called for openly. That's what a fucking lame-o this asshole is. That's to not even have the balls to just bring that up. The most egregious, obvious, imperialistic language from a presidential candidate in fucking decades.
He's from the Bush administration, and
oh shit, man, you're really gonna go there? You're citing the Epic Times, and you're going to the. Does he even? That's the guy who was used to defend Bush's torture program. Fuck, is he just realizing this now? I feel like he posted this and then he caught himself and like, wait a minute, this guy was in the bush. Oh, fuck, it's that guy. Like look at him. He's just realizing right now that he's going to make his case with the guy who defended Bush's torture program. He's going to defend Trump with that guy. Holy shit.
Oh, Yoo. I thought you said John Woo, like the director, like the famous director, John Woo.
John Yoo, I think.
John Yoo.
Yeah. So,
yeah, tell us about him. Tell us his history. Bring us up to speed. Obviously, Kurt needs a refresher course, Jimmy. Tell him who that guy is.
He says he has serious doubts about Manhattan's DA's case against Trump. Serious doubts, Kurt. What's to doubt about this historic novel use of a misdemeanor?
Oh, now, okay. So he's using that line, and then he's reading one of Kurt's jokes off the paper. That's what is happening. I'm just saying. Sorry to interrupt between setup and punchline. I'm sorry. I'm sure I sucked all the comedy out of the room.
Bookkeeping charge from 2016. Serious doubts, Kurt. What's to doubt about this historic novel use of a misdemeanor bookkeeping charge from 2016?
Wow, it's nice to know Jimmy hasn't lost his touch since the pro-Russia rally where he was reading dead comics jokes and Kurt's jokes as if they were his own and fucking up the punchline by mispronouncing words right dead center in the sentence. Like, this is... But meanwhile... Trump is literally making it's a bookkeeping error. It's just a bookkeeping error. There's nothing to, I didn't do it. He's not even going to the part where this isn't important. This is a federal election law that they're trying to gin up in the state just to go after him because they're saying he didn't do this to hide it from his family. He did it to hide it from the campaign. He doesn't even have the guts to make that fucking case. He's literally making Trump's cheapest low-res defense, or at least having Kurt write a joke about it, while using this motherfucker to defend Trump in general on legalities of presidential behavior. Holy shit.
You know what they're charging him, but it's about because he gave payments to...
No, not giving the payments, that they were marked down in the books of...
So he gave he paid hush money through his lawyer Michael Cohen to that stripper porn star that he had sex with or something.
Yeah, right.
And that was to keep her quiet. I don't think that's illegal. What is?
Right. That's not what the charge has anything to do with.
What's illegal is that he tried to hide where that money came from.
Right.
Like when Hillary Clinton funded the Steele dossier and lied about it for a year. Then she was finally fined for that. So instead of fining Trump for this, they're going to...
Yeah, it's precisely that.
They have an overzealous DA who is being instructed by the establishment to...
Is he? Well, that's probably because he's black, right, Jimmy? He can't think for himself. This couldn't have been his idea.
To try to indict Trump and get a perp walk.
It's called novel use because they never have ever done that this way before.
Honest to God. Does Kurt need to see a doctor, or is he just, did he just fall into the wrong decade? Because Kurt talks and lead into what he's saying like a character that poops when he thinks something's funny in a 1930s Three Stooges hospital episode.
For this, like it's like, you know, pay a fine thing.
That's right.
Because then you got to prove.
So they're doing to Trump what they warned Trump would do to his enemies. They were warned that Trump is going to now criminalize his political enemies.
No, he warned that he would. He led people in chants of lock her up about Hillary Clinton, and then he whiffed on it, and his own followers got mad about it. And ultimately, he thought, well, shit, if I can get in there and just let shit slide about that, then nobody's going to come after me for the real stuff, so I'm safe. It's exactly why he thought he could manipulate Zelensky after he effectively Barr helped him get off from the Mueller report by not letting Mueller, A, indict him, and B, go after his finances, which would be the motive that you would need in an indictment. Motive means opportunity, part of it making your case to a grand jury. Specifically, he couldn't look into the financial implications of his relation with Russia that would act as a glue point for why this, why, and why now. Right? So the same thing sort of applies here. He thought, well, as soon as he got off from that and he got impeached, but he didn't get kicked out, fuck, I can do anything. So he literally made a threatening phone call to Zelensky, had Rudy Giuliani fly over there to put the squeeze on him. It didn't work. And he was amazed. He was like, how the fuck? That was a perfect phone call. I said I used perfect mafia language. It was all winks and nods, and Rudy would say the shitty part in person without any note takers around like we had arranged.
That's exactly what they're doing to Trump, and they've been trying to do it since he won the presidency.
Yeah. He hasn't done, he's a poor innocent victim of just justice run amok, right, Jimmy?
That thing that they're trying to make you afraid that Trump was going to do, they're doing now.
Trump was trying to make you afraid he was going to do. He was bragging about it. He's still bragging about it. By the way, he realizes in a lot of ways, kind of like pardoning the Jan 6ers, that he didn't do it. So now he's like, I'm going to have to do that if they're going to elect me again. That's the only way I can get him back.
And that's what this is. And this...
Yes. You still haven't told Kurt who Professor Yoo is. Explain why he's your go-to legal voice in this particular circumstance.
This novel use of a misdemeanor, this is relying on the testimony of a disbarred ex-lawyer convicted of making false statements to a federal bank and also tax evasion. What doubts? How could you have any doubts about this case? It's watertight. It relies on a disbarred lawyer.
Yes, Cohen. For shit he did while he worked for Trump.
Who admitted to lying to everybody.
On behalf of Trump.
Well, how could you have doubts about this case? So here, let's get into it a little bit. We'll get into it a little bit, but I want to read
a top law professor. Just in case, Jimmy's not, I mean, maybe he will dip into it, but torture memos. A set of legal memoranda known as the torture memos, officially memorandum regarding military interrogation of alien unlawful combatants held outside the United States, was drafted by John Yoo as Deputy Assistant Attorney General of the United States and signed in August 2002 by Assistant Attorney General Jay Bybee, head of the Office of Legal Counsel of the United States Department of Justice. They advised the Central Intelligence Agency and the United States Department of Defense and the President on the use of enhanced interrogation techniques. Mental and physical torment and coercion, such as prolonged sleep deprivation, binding in stress positions, and waterboarding, and stated such acts, widely regarded as torture, might be legally permissible under an expansive interpretation of presidential authority during the War on Terror. That, John Yoo, that's the top law professor that James Dore right now is citing as his source to say Donald Trump is an innocent man who is being hounded by an out-of-control Justice Department. A top law professor.
That guy Turley from George Washington University, he also is saying stuff about this.
Really? Jonathan Turley? Why don't you cite him instead of the guy who said it's okay to waterboard people?
So this guy says, I think this is a seriously flawed prosecution. University of California, Berkeley law professor John Yoo told Fox News. Now,
John Yoo, who might he be?
Yoo, a Bush-era deputy assistant attorney general. He's the guy who justified torture.
There you go. Now he's finally woke up to it. So, Jimmy, you've reached this moment. The threshold is right there in front of you. You could step over it into the light where everyone is waiting at the giant party to light the candles on the cake that says you're an asshole and you finally realized it. Or you can stay outside in the fucking rain. And in this particular instance, he's right there. So the guy who says it's okay to take enemy combatants and even non-enemy combatants, because you can't really know until you really ask them, and you can only ask them if you're pouring water down their nose, into rendition sites and waterboard them and tie them in stress positions and attach electrodes to their fucking genitals. That guy is your source to prove that Donald Trump is being railroaded.
Just so you know.
It wasn't Alberto Gonzalez, or he was one of them?
Just John Yoo was a big one.
Oh.
Yeah.
So Kurt now knows. I can't believe Kurt doesn't know. I can believe Kurt doesn't know. What does Kurt actually know? This is Kurt maybe on the cusp. If there are any thoughts running around in Kurt's head right now, bouncing around in that empty dome, they might bump into each other, go, hey, why are we using the guy who said it was okay to stress torture and waterboard Iraqis as the guy who's trying to convince us that there's no case against Donald Trump? As a matter of fact, it sounds like that's the kind of shit this guy is apt to say about any Republican. Just skip past it. Just look, it's better if you guys don't talk about it.
Going after Trump while he's in the midst of a presidential campaign appears to be a politically motivated move to damage his chances of re-election, he suggested. So it seems like, I don't know what's in it for you to do this. Maybe he's looking for a job in the Trump administration, but wouldn't it be better if he looked for a job in the next Republican administration, you know?
Wait.
So does Jimmy think that is that just a mouth fart, or does Jimmy think that DeSantis is going to be president, so it's better if he's, I don't know.
No, John Yoo's saying this is a bad idea. That other guy.
Yeah, John Yoo is saying this is a bad idea.
Oh, well, the other thing I've been seeing is he's like a Soros guy, like one of those DAs that got money.
So I have strong doubts whether this will ever get to a jury. This is that guy, John Yoo. I have a strong doubts whether this will lead to the conviction of President Trump. He could easily get off all these charges and be declared innocent.
Okay, first of all, then Professor Yoo needs to stop teaching a class immediately because no one is declared innocent by a court of law. You can be found not guilty because of reasonable doubt or a lack of preponderance of evidence, but nobody is found innocent. Innocent's a word that like laymen use, not the court. This guy's speaking as an officer of the court and a guy who teaches law who also justified torture. Fuck that guy.
This is probably the weakest thing that they've ever brought.
To me, it appears to be a hope to kick off another January 6th event.
I think that's the main thing, is to hopefully salvage this.
It's
all right. They're definitely losing steam.